name is Erica Horinouchi.
And I'm Marissa Lian.
And we're here at Pacific Union College, and we'll be talking about the Crucifixion by Giotto and Serrano.
And Piss Christ by Andres Serrano.
So this fresco is in the Arena Chapel in Padua, Italy. It was painted around 1304 to 1306 and is number 19 of scenes from the life of Christ. Giotto was famous for his famous life representational work. As said by Bellosi, none of Giotto's creations is more delicate or more moving than this crucified Christ.
Right, he really does a good job in showing a sense of emotion and movement in this piece. So tell me, Erica, what was the most interesting thing you found about this piece of artwork?
Well, Marissa, there are a lot of interesting things in this artwork, but what I found the most interesting is the expressions and gestures of the angels. You can see there are two different expressions. The first one is joy that humanity is saved. The second one is sadness, the despair of watching Jesus suffering on the cross. We really get the sense with the angels illustrated ripping his garment, floating around with expression of grief. We can really feel the emotions.
It's an interesting fact, now that you mention it, that Giotto portrays an angel ripping his own clothes.
I thought that was interesting too, portraying something we humans normally cannot do. You mentioned earlier about movement. In Giotto's works, you can observe more movement in the human body. You can see Virgin Mary's body in an uncomfortable position and even the weight of Jesus' head as he is hung on the cross and his hair draping down into his face. James Stubblebine states, Virgin Mary, her face is contorted by grief, so much so that she becomes strikingly unbeautiful, reflected in an awkward, almost painful twist of her body. It is ironic that Virgin Mary is portrayed in an unattractive way, while most artists portray her as a royal, beautiful being. It really communicates the anguish of Mary losing her only son.
That's an interesting observation. It really shows her anguish of losing her only son. I also noticed there's a separation of people.
Right. On the left side is a group of holy, righteous people with halos, grieving and in remorse of their loss. Virgin Mary is supported by St. John and Mary Magdalene at the foot of Jesus weeping. While on the right side there are a group of soldiers without halos, showing no sign of despair. I love the expression of both sorrow and passion shown by the people.
Right, and this is a very traditional way of art, different from the contemporary artist Andres Serrano. He also portrayed Jesus' crucifixion in a very interpreted manner. Piss Christ was created in 1987 out of three things: a regular wooden cross, a plastic figurine of Christ, and most important of all, the vial of the artist's urine.
Did I hear you right? Did you say urine? Who uses bodily excretion as part of their art?
I know, apparently Andres Serrano did. He was originally raised as a Roman Catholic, but now considers himself a Christian.
So, what do you think he was trying to convey in his artwork?
Well, Andres Serrano claims he wasn't only trying to make a statement, but only merely intended a reflection of his perception as a Christian. He may be misunderstood as an artist in general, because he also values reality in his works of art. So, without the title having some reference to the use of urine, I think that his art wouldn't be completely true, and therefore wouldn't really be the work of Andres Serrano.
I think you have a point there, but why create something so controversial?
The name of his art piece may be appalling, but his intent is to capture the people's attention to express the general acceptance of misrepresentation, overuse, and even misuse that symbolizes Jesus' gruesome death.
Even after hearing his intention, I still feel offended as a Christian for using the symbolism of Christ in an impure fashion.
Your reaction is almost expected of such a masterpiece. Many people reacted to the same way due to Jerry Meyer's book of Sacrilege, as he elaborates. Sacrilege assumes three general forms: syncretism, secularization, and profanation.
Then what would Piss Christ fall into the category of?
That would be profanation. It is when sacred symbols are degraded by improper use or when they are mixed with profane symbols, and it is the sacred that is altered. For visual arts, the more significant the sacred symbol and the more realistic its representation, there is a greater chance of offending people.
Either way, he should have known that this would cause controversy, especially when you include the name of the substances he used in the title of his artwork, don't you think?
Yes, I agree he created his art piece in a pretty provocative manner, but I believe he did it with good intentions, showing his beliefs with emphasizing his realistic, although sometimes controversial interpretation.
I think that if he hadn't have used urine, it wouldn't have been a controversial thing. How many people would you say were opposed of his work?
I would say there are a lot of people opposed to Piss Christ, starting with Senator Jesse Holmes, who brought attention to his work because he was outraged that any government money had gone out to fund an exhibit of Piss Christ.
Oh, so violating the separation of church and state.
Yes, possibly so, and not only was it criticized by influential political leaders, it was also attacked by young Christians in France with hammers.
Now that we have elaborated a lot on Giotto and Serrano, let's summarize. Both crucifixion pieces each represent the sacrifice Christ made for humankind, a result of our sins. Giotto expressed the mournful emotions of the people. Deep down, Serrano may have tried to implement these meanings, but the media he chose caused outrage and lost most of the spiritual meaning and appreciation of a lot of people. But art is all about perspective. Art is viewed in different ways by different people.
Thanks!